let's go. Yeah. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go! Let's go! Nothing's gonna stop us today. Get on the bus or get out the way. We're cruising with the radio on. So turn it up to 10. Here comes our favorite song. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Awesome. So, it looks as if it's stable, very stable now. So, thank you for the patience. Thank you for waiting. Um, I'm grateful. And yeah, we can get into it. But before we get into official business, as you always know, I try to bring some information to you before, we're kicking to do the stuff. So, it is official. I can tell you it's official. I'll be speaking at the MCT Summit 2019 happening in Abuja, Nigeria, which is from the 5th to the 6th of December. So if you if you want to catch me, yeah, make a date with me. Just make sure you're in Nigeria and Abuja, and I'll be there live. I'll be talking about AI stuff. So if you're interested in AI, catch me in Abuja on the MCT Summit. Awesome. So without much ado, let's kick in and let's take a look at what we'll be talking about today. So I mentioned that we're talking about bindings, and for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about Agile functions. We've seen what they're capable of doing, and today we've got to the point where I want to talk to you about bindings. And to explain a lot further, as we do all the time, let's go to our portal. Let me make sure I've got. Uh, let's see if we have this taken care of. All right, so let's go to the official. And like I mentioned, make sure you're using the documentations that Microsoft provides. There's a lot of information in there, examples and all that. So we have been using, look at that gorgeous logo. And well, there has been, a lot of talks about the new logo. I like it. I feel it's cool. So hey, well, that's just that's just my opinion on that. So today that's what we're talking about, and I kind of like the revamped, documentations page. As you can see, looking sleek, quite simple. They've modified. I see they've modified um, the scenarios here, timer, APIs. Yeah, now some animations are being added to it. Well, cool, cool, cool. Anyway, that's cool. And then, yeah, you can actually, awesome, awesome. Well, so as you can see, consumption plans, I've talked about consumption plans before. I said that those are the defaults. There's a premium plan that has joined. But today we're going to be taking a look at bindings. And more specifically, we'll probably start with the Cosmos DB bindings to see how we can use Cosmos DB and then function. So maybe something happens in the Cosmos DB, triggers a function, or something from a function triggers, something into it. So we'll just walk through some very basic steps. So that's good documentation. Very good. And also, make sure you check this out. I think it's Microsoft LAN. Yeah, just they have actually revamped that as well. So now if you go to Microsoft LAN, revamped website, cool. There's a lot of path. So if you want to do functions, if you want to do, they have role based, they have product based. So take a look at this. Very, very revamped, very interesting and good content. So if you want, more information or something to help you step by step, Microsoft Learn is your ultimate choice. So just for your information, and then also Pluralsight free weekend is happening. So rush the Pluralsight, create an account or sign in, learn anything you want to learn for free for this weekend. Be smart, learn something, utilize the opportunity to learn something new. So with that out of the way, let's get rocking. So ours is under product. We can go to functions where there's compute. Here we go. And then concept. I think. mm, Let's see. Not the event grid. So, not the custom image. So, well, I'll walk you through that. So, let's go to our portal where we have all our functions created. Let's move this out of the way. Move that out of the way. Let's move this also out of the way. Awesome. So we just wait for it to load. I mean, at the moment it's been good, so thankfully. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, so we go to functions app because we have our apps created there. This is functions Friday node because we're working with the Node.js because that gives us opportunity to create different functions in different languages. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we last week we created proxies where we mentioned that proxies are more or less like other ways to kind of like a canonical or unified way of calling your functions. You can create routes and all that. We created ones. We looked at variables and functions and all that. So that is quite simple. Let's check out our functions magic number, and then we check out our proxies. We created proxy last week, which was for number. So we actually hit or encapsulated the magic number function on top of the proxy. So today we're going to create another function that is going to have bindings. It could be HTTP triggered, but with binding. So let's click on add, and as you can see, by default you have all these templates. We've looked at HTTP triggers, we looked at timer triggers. There's a queue, which function that will be run whenever a message is added to a specified queue. This will need us to create an Azure queue to do that. So if you're doing messaging and maybe you're listening for a message dropped in that queue. So as soon as a message drops in the queue, you want the function to go out and maybe do something, send an SMS, notify someone. You can do that. There's the same for service bus topic, and then Azure Blob storage. And there's also the event tabs. And like I promised, we'll be taking this one after the other and creating them. So we've done the first two, which is the Azure HTTP trigger. We've done the timer trigger. But today I want us to take a look at the blob storage trigger. Now later on, as we get down into, we'll talk about durable functions and we'll create stuff. But today we're taking a look at the blob. I'm skipping the queue. Just is deliberate because I want us to have the ability to create stuff, to just follow certain pathings and be able to create stuff quickly. So I'm going to go with this. And what this is doing is that it's going to scaffold the function for me with the bindings pre-installed. Yes. Now, one of the things that has happened in the new version of function is that everything is more modular. So if you're creating a function, it is required for you to install the extensions you require. So as you realize that this template requires, an extensions for the storage, web jobs storage extension. So I need to explicitly install the extension within my functions to be able to use it. So I just go ahead and click that. And I must say, I'm feeling the new user experience that Microsoft has got for the Azure portal. So, and yes, we could have done this also in Visual Studio Code, so No two ways about that. Welcome to everyone who has joined the stream. I can see two people on the stream, one from Twitch and one from Facebook. Welcome, guys. All right, extension installing. So whilst this is happening, um, I would I would I would like to interact with you to see just to know where you're coming from, whether you've used functions before or you're thinking of using functions, um, how I can be of help, like if is there anything specific you'd want me see. Those are things I would want to know so I can help you on. Let me actually bring this out a bit so you can see what's happening here. Yeah, so you can see that side of things. Okay, so yeah, so extensions, the extension has been installed. Let me actually give you a few view so you see what I'm working on. Yeah, because I have that heading behind the chat so you don't really see it. Okay, so the extension has been installed. We use AWS at work, just kind of listening to compare Azure, throwing support to a. Okay, okay, awesome. Well, yeah. So if you, so that would be Azure Functions is synonymous to um, Lambda functions in AWS. Um, that's quite similar. Have quite a lot of similarities going on, but then depending on which platform you've been using for X number of months, years, weeks, whatever that is, you tend to find some niche with it. But I mean, both of them comparably good. I personally find, Azure Functions to give me a lot of options. One of the things that I really love about Azure Functions is the durable functions. Because durable functions allow you to create stateful functions, stateful function as code, and you can do orchestrations, you can do the fan in and fan out. So that's why I'm more of a fan of the Azure Functions. And then also Azure Functions come with all the pre-built connectors. So like today we're talking about bindings, like storage bindings and other bindings. I don't have to do the heavy lifting. I just have to create my bindings, just reference them, and it's all like hooked up for me and ready to go. So we need to create a new blob storage because this is what's going to trigger. So let's see. This is going to be called um, let's say blob trigger one. Let's say blob trigger Friday. And yep, so this is where, so this is the path where, um, when we drop stuff in this part, that's what's going to trigger the function. So let me copy this and put my fancy notepad somewhere here so I can quickly copy and paste stuff. So I hope that helped. That explanation helps. So, I mean, it's good to try it out. I mean, what you might want to do is you can pick the same workload and maybe have one of you try to implement the same thing on Azure Functions, and maybe the other implement it on Amazon AWS Lambda. And then maybe you can make that analogy for yourself or that analysis for yourself and figure out, which made it easy for you. So, okay, awesome. So this is our part. And the storage container. All right. Yes, Azure Web Job. Yep. So so this would be the connection string to the database. All right. It's either we're creating a new one. All right. And when we create a new one, that is going to go ahead and let us create a storage account and all that. So we already have a functions Friday account. So I'm going to select that. Um, So we use that storage account because we already have that selected. So yep, so that's created for us, and this is the path. So just note that. Okay, so we click on create, and did I click on create? I think I did. Did I click on create? I think I did. This is done. This is done. Yeah, function storage and create. Hmm. Well, let's see what happens. Yeah, and, as you can see, there are other triggers as well, Cosmos DB and all that, but this is just storage, so let's just stick to that for now. You know what? Let me cancel this and refresh this and see if it went through. That should add another function. Sometimes it's funny, when the browsers and all that, but let's see. I'll actually be glad to know how it went. If you guys decide to, go the dual part of you trying to use Azure Functions and the other person using AWS Lambda, I'd really be interested to know what your findings are, what your final judgment would be. So, looks like we have. So I had a friend reach out to me and ask that why is it that I always prefer to do this live, with all the errors and everything that could happen. And I was like, yeah, that's the point. Because there's a lot that happens in the background that most people think, oh, it's all fine and too, but I feel that, I should do this, and then you can see some of the problems or, the challenges we encounter and, the thinking process. So that's kind of why I choose to still do it live, and just to put it out there, because it's good for you to follow up, to follow the process and know that yes, something can go wrong. Because sometimes we follow tutorials and we do that because everything had been pre-made, and now you're running the tutorial and and what happens is that you realize that, oh well, I got this error. Yes, probably the person who wrote the tutorial got that error, but figured something around it, but didn't, maybe add that to the tutorial. Well, your judgment is about money. Okay. Yeah, yeah, but okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So, I have encountered people who also have made the same, have expressed the same um, issues, that their companies have already invested heavily in one cloud, environment, that it doesn't make sense for them to switch to another. So you technically are forced to get into it. I mean, that's fine, but if you happen to be giving the flexibility and money is not a problem, or let's say already commitments and investments are not a problem, I would encourage you to try functions. But yes, it's good to mess around with it, maybe your own projects and all that. It's good to mess around with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Seems our browser messed up on us. Okay, so it is a blob storage. Let me bring this to full screen so you can see, and let me zoom in here. So we'll just call it blob trigger 1, keywords, and then we're using Friday demo storage and create. Okay, so that I can relate to. Well, okay, so we have our binding. So as you can see, it's quite very simple. I mean, this is all the code we need. And I'm sure you're like, what just happened? So you realize that the bindings have been added for us. And this is it. So the bindings have been added to our function and referenced by the name myblob. So now it's injected it into it, and we can look at that. So we can just call all the properties on my blob and have it. So right now, it's simply anytime something drops in that particular that path, what's going to happen is that it's just going to tell us, the data, the binding data, the name of the file that has been added, and then give us information about it. So let's go check this out and see how this is going to work. Let me bring the console up. just so you can see what's happening in the console. Here, if we bring this a bit here, if I reduce the console a bit, let me just shift this here. So if you go to the file, so now let's take a look at the functions the JSON file. So as you can see, these are the bindings. I mentioned in the beginning of this series that bindings are more like variables. So bindings are more like variables. They can be input, they can be input parameters or input variables or output variables. Now, at the same time, bindings can also serve as triggers. So in this case, the binding, the blob storage binding is actually a trigger. So it is actually added to the bindings array. So as you can see, quite simple to define. So you can actually use this for infrastructure as code. So you can do your CI/CD around this code and redeploy. So as you can see, simple name my blob. This is what is referenced in the file here. If I can just change this without, yeah, my blob. That's it. So uh, yep, and it's a type of blob trigger, and you see the direction. It's in, which is a trigger. So that's what's causing it. And this is the path. Samples, work items, and then the name of the file. All right. And then this is the connection. So it created a connection string to the blob storage, and then gave it this name. So that's why I'm saying that for functions and bindings, most of the heavy lifting is done for you. So it's just a matter of connectors and all that, and you're good to go. So that's just, as you can see, that's just it. Very, very simple function. So it means that now here, when this happens, I could write my own orchestration. I could, get the information from the file and send it somewhere else or do something else. But today we're keeping it simple to see how we can react to files dropped in a blob and trigger a function. And today, all that is happening is that it's going to tell us, something has been dropped, and this is the size of that file. So to do this, I'm going to I think I should use, okay, so this is going to give me the opportunity to introduce you to a new tool called the is the Storage Explorer. All right. Uh, the Azure Storage Explorer is just like a desktop utility that allows you to access all your storage in Microsoft Azure. All right. Now there are some I have a lot of I have a lot of keys and stuff going on. So all I would do is that let me save this. Just make sure that I have it here. So I'm going to connect to my Azure account, and then we're going to connect to the Blob storage we used, which is one for Azure Friday. So let's run this. Yep. So we know that it's running. So as you can see, the reason why we're having this error when I run it was that the container does not exist. All right. So we need to go ahead and create that container. We can go and then create it, and then, we can come back to Azure. So at least let's do that so I can show you that. So let's go to let's go to our resource group. Resource group, resource group, resource group. Let me go to resource groups. We have one for Azure Functions Friday. Yeah, there we go. And that is where we have, yep, our storage account. And if you remember, we don't have any containers. Yeah, so we go to containers. So this is just Azure Web Jobs. These are just the containers we have. But if you remember, the container that was created for us during the setting up of the function was samples work items. So I'm going to create a container here, and I'm going to create that. So I can say private, which means there's no anonymous access. You have to be authenticated to have access to this. I can say blob, which is anonymous read access for blobs only. So and when you say blob and you set anonymous read access for blobs only, it means that you only have access to the blob, like just the files you put inside. Now, if you do container anonymous read, that means that everything in the container. So just for the sake of for the sake of this, yeah, enumerate, yeah, that's fine. Um, just for now, you know, it's not a best practice. Trust me, it's not a best practice. So that is just for the purpose of the stream. So with this done, now anytime we drop something in here and we run, that function should trigger because it's a storage trigger. It's listening for events happening on this storage account in this particular container. So I can open this, right? And let's just say, let's see if I can just create a simple JSON file. Let me open Sublime Text somewhere here, and then just create a new file and just put something like name. Put my name there, Sammy, and then do show. So I mean, this is what I'm doing, just so you guys see. I'm just trying to create a very funk Funk Friday. All right. I'm just trying to create a very simple. Let's put this on the desktop and call it uh, demo file.json. All right. Yeah, it's telling me it has to be proper JSON, blah blah blah. All that craziness. Yeah, that's fine. That's for the purpose of this show. We can just make sure we fix this. All right. Yep. So we now have a very valid JSON file, right? So let's put this down. Now, if we go back to our function, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to upload this right now, and then we'll go back to the function and run and see what happens. Yeah, I'm going to choose this, override if exists, so that, because I'm going to upload this again. So let's go to the desktop, demo file, the JSON, open, and upload. Bam. So look at it. It's 46 bytes. That's uploaded, right? Now let's go back to our functions. I think next time I should open two function tabs and then so that I can. So let's do this and open the logs and run this. Okay. Yeah. So we don't have any. Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Yep. Yeah. 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 So hold on. Let's see. The specified blob. Oh wow! I gave it a wrong name. Ooh. I named it wrongly. Let's see. No, not okay. So when I mean I name it wrong, not necessarily the name of the function. It's looking for. Where did I put that? Okay, so samples, work items. I'm just making sure that I have this set correctly. Okay, so let's go in there. Let me go back here. Yep, we have a container. We have we have this. So that's the container here. Let's see. Containers. That's the container. Tables, queues. Let's open this. Yeah, we have one item in there. Let's go back. Let me just make sure that I have this properly set. Yeah, so we have, where is that? Yep, that's in there. Okay, so I'm going back to the functions. Sorry, go back to the functions here, and I'm going to use my storage explorer. Look, yep, and then I'm going to keep the functions opened, and let's open Blob this. And I'm going to keep the logs open again just to see. And then I'm going to where is that functions Friday? Yep. So I'm going to try to upload the same thing and see what happens in the console. So I have my storage explorer open. Yeah, so blob containers. Yep, sample work items. All right. So I'm going to upload the file again. Upload files. Um, so I'm going to upload the file again. So it's just a normal block blob, so that's fine. Upload, blah blah blah. Yep, destination the same place. So desktop demo. Let's try this again. Upload. There's a conflict. Yeah, replace it. Apply to all conflict. Okay, that has. Okay, there you go. Can you see that? It worked magic. So I just uploaded the file, and as you can see, this is what we asked it to say. It says what? JavaScript blob trigger function processed blob, and then this is the name demo file.json. As you can see, context.binding data.name. So that is just the name because it's going to pick the file name, and then blob.length 46 bytes, if you remember that. So that is how very easy and simple it is to create. I'm just going to go ahead and create. I'm going to create a new file. Okay, I'm just going to save this one as, and then I'll just call this Sammy dot Sammy dot dot JS. Just so you know that it's not restrictive to anything. The first one was JSON, and I'm using Sammy dot JS. All right. No, I think I say because it's already saved. Save as. Let me change this to all files, and then save it as Sammy dot JS. On the desktop, yes, replace it. Okay, so I've saved a JavaScript file, all right, and I'm going to upload that again using my how do you call it? Okay, I think I can do this. I want to hide a lot of my subscriptions from you so you don't see it, cause so this is how the storage explorer look like. So I'm going to push it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to push it up here. Okay, and now we're going to do an upload files, and I'm going to select the file on the desktop which I just created called sammy.js, open, and then upload. And now if everything goes well, it should pop up that here, boom, transfer is done. And 1 2 3, just give it a minute, and then pump, there you go. It says that what? As you can see, triggered again. This is called summit.js, and this is what, 46 byte. So that is how to create an Azure function that is triggered by activities or drops in an Azure Blob storage. And that is what I wanted to show you today. Now, think of all the possibilities, or think of all the things you can create using this skill you just acquired. I would encourage you to go test it out, play around with it. If you need some encouragement or some form of use cases or some how do you call it, inspiration, you can tweet at me at my handle at sadrani or sadrani. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can connect with me on all my social media feed. I will be willing to reach out and help you. Um, I hope, Sindane, I hope I gave you some ideas to mess around. Next week, on next week's episode, we're going to take a look at the bus. Sorry, the message queue. We're going to look at how to trigger Azure functions from a message queue. Now, if you realize, I am doing this incrementally because we are building up to something at the end. There's going to be a project where we're going to use all the services, all the bindings we've learned to create a cool project. So keep your project ideas coming in. I'm going to pick out a random any project that I feel speaks to what we've been learning, and then we're going to create a project on the show together. Until I come your way again next Friday. This has been yours truly, Samuel Adrani. Remember, I will be speaking at the MCT Summit in Abuja, Nigeria. I'm going to be talking on AI, and we'll be infusing some of these things into bot services, cognitive services, and I'll be hosting um, a pre-summit bootcamp on AI. So make a day with me, connect with me. It's going to be an interesting time to meet a lot of people. So hey, until next week, enjoy your weekend. Stay positive, stay good. Learn something new, share what you learn, and let's make a world a better place through learning, sharing, and technology. Until then, this has been Functions Friday.